That is the kind of conversation that we are having here. We just now want to take you to the National Assembly, where the Departmental Committee on Energy is holding a meeting with various stakeholders regarding the inquiry on the high cost of energy here in Kenya. Some of the stakeholders involved includes private players. So we just want to go there, and then I will come back and continue with the rest of the conversation.
In signing of this particular contract, we want to run away from. So what we are attempting to do now, because we can't run away from signed contracts without a reason, then is to be able to establish connection between civil servants, senior government people who serve in the same energy ministries, directly or indirectly being involved in part of these queued agreements, and then that becomes a good reason to say that this particular contract, even if we run away from it, then we are not breaking any particular law. Maybe from where you sit, where agreements have been signed, some of them international, and then you wake up and say, we don't want them anymore. What do you think is the implication?
Chair, if you listen to me carefully in my presentation, I say today, if you set up a commission or a committee of the engineers, very qualified engineers, in an area of electricity supply, and then you say we want to carry out and get a proper report on the supply of electricity by IPPs, maybe you will find 3 or 4, they are the people who are doing the job. And that would be enough reason to get away with these people. And any investor who is supposed to invest must be specific, sincere, honest, and up to the agreement that he or she entered into. So you cannot keep an investor or fear, say that we want to attract investors when the ordinary person in that particular country cannot afford to access the investments that those investors must put in place. It is the duty of any given government to protect its citizens. So, and I told you in my opening remarks that if you had a body of engineers, and Elisha is here, he worked for power and lighting, and you make him one, he knows where these people are coming from and where they are going. That is why I said we just came to supplement on what already you know. You will find that some of these IPPs are supplying air and making billions and billions of money in foreign exchange. Thank you, Chair.
Before I give just a minute, before I give Elisha, Daktari, actually some of those contracts are signed, they clearly say that we are paying you for supplying air. Even without establishing whether or not they are supplying air, there are contracts that are signed under take or pay agreement, whether you have cheaper power available or not. Whatever they produce, you must buy by force. Like Turkana is signed in that particular manner, that whatever it is they produce, you must buy by force, even if you have a cheaper source at that particular time. That is the agreement now. Now, with that agreement, there's nothing else to establish other than to understand why it was signed that way in the first place. There are others who are paying huge amounts of money through what you call capacity charge. Then you are paying them for keeping the generators there, just to keep the generators there. The amount of money we pay them, 1%, only 1% is for the power they are supplying, 99% is for keeping the generators there. But the agreement says we pay them for keeping the generators there. And you can't tell them today to take their generators. If you take them their generators, if you tell them to take their generators away, you pay them the money you agreed. That is a capacity charge. So the elephant in the room is big, and therefore we appreciate that approach, which in any case it's true. At some point, then the government must protect its people, must crack the whip, and then look at these contracts whether or not they were signed objectively. Let me ask just one member before we release you, so that you can make one comment. Let me start with Owino.
Thank you, Chair. To Dr. Atwoli, I just wanted some clarification. How is having a workers' body representative sit in the EPRA board going to help regulate or reduce the cost of power? Because you said you should be having a representative there. Thank you.
Then Mr. Mheshimiwa Elisha.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
I'm glad that Dr. Atwoli is here because he represents a bigger majority of those who work for us. But I think more importantly, you are aware in the 12th Parliament, we attempted to investigate, do an inquiry on IPPs. Then Duale came with a motion. The government then appointed the Kwasi, under Kwasi chairmanship of Ngumi, who was representing political interests. And they made their recommendations based on what they wanted. But more important, I think, is what Dr. Atwoli is saying. As Parliament, do we see skewed contracts and allow those skewed contracts to be able to exploit Kenyans? Is that panacea? Is that something that we can do as a prophylax to ensure that Kenyans can believe that Article 1 of the Constitution gives us the mandate to represent them in Parliament? I think this is a conversation we need to have. But I think, like I've mentioned it before, those who are stealing from Kenyans are fellow Kenyans who worked at the Ministry of Energy. The owners of these companies worked in the Ministry of Energy. And that is why you find a company like Thika Power, you've already paid them capacity charge, you're finished with them. They're still saying that even after the Kenyans are paid for the electricity, they want to own that company. It's not possible. It's not possible. You can't eat your own children. You can't eat the gentlemen who have been paying your salaries. You can't go back there and now start charging them, because apart from Kenyan, which is charging Kenya 7 shillings per kilowatt hour, these other companies are charging 30 shillings.
All right.
If you go on the Lifeline charge, it is 12 shillings per kilowatt hour, but if you add taxes, it translates to 17. The normal, me and you and Dr. Atwoli, we pay about 26 shillings per kilowatt hour.
Thank you.
So therefore means even what Kenya Power is getting from this IPP is zero. Thank you.
All right.